Welcome back to Virtual School Assembly. Today our guest is Dr. Nicoline Ambe. She is an inspirational speaker and a women's travel advisor. She's taught in several universities, colleges, and elementary schools across Canada and the United States for more than 2 decades. For over 11 years, she mentored several moms and dads to develop strong relationships with their children and help them succeed in school and life. Currently, she teaches special education in California and loves to travel the world as a travel agent. I'm so excited to have Dr. Is it Ambe or Ambe?
Ambe.
Ambe. Sorry, I keep butchering that. Dr. Ambe on the show. Welcome to Virtual School Assembly.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Let me hand you the virtual microphone and go ahead and tell us your story.
Hello there, students. I am very excited to be here today, and thank you for watching. And I hope that you're going to stay on all the way through to the end so that I can share with you the message that I have for you today. First of all, I want to congratulate you for being here. I want to congratulate you for making your time available to listen. You know, these days there's so much happening in our world, and we usually don't make time for the things that may transform our lives and may be important for us. So for you to decide to be here today is truly, truly amazing, and I want to congratulate you for that. My name is Nicoline Ambe. I am an inspirational speaker and women's travel advisor, but the story didn't always start there. The story started when I was a little girl growing up in Africa, as you can tell from my accent. And I remember like it was just yesterday growing up as a little girl. I was very busy. I got up in the morning very early at 4 a.m., put on my shoes. Sometimes I probably wasn't putting on shoes. I was bare feet, and I would travel several miles on foot to fetch water for my family because we had no running water at home. I would come back, cook, clean, take care of my parents, and did sometimes all of that before going to school. So I was very busy as a girl child. And I also grew up in a society where the girl child wasn't always valued. And I grew up feeling unworthy. I grew up feeling a sense of a sense that I wasn't fully able to accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish. We grew up in a society where the social mores and social values and stereotypes didn't really allow for the girl child to blossom in the way that she wanted to blossom. So I grew up in that kind of environment. But there was one thing that I was very passionate about, and there was one thing that truly, truly changed my life. It was the love of reading. I love to read. And because I love to read, I positioned myself as a very good student, as a top student. And when I graduated with a bachelor's degree, I applied to a college in Canada, gave them my transcript, and they were blown away by that kind of result. They had never seen that kind of achievement. And so they accepted me into their university on complete scholarship. They paid my way, they paid my airfare, my transportation, my tuition. All I needed was a little suitcase, and I left Africa. And so education and reading has truly, truly transformed my life. And after completing my master's degree, that was a master's degree in Canada. After completing that, I went on to do a PhD degree. And after that, I did another master's degree. So by the age of 30 years old, I had 4 degrees. Why? Because education and reading and the love of school was all I really had. That was the only thing I had for me. That was my gift to myself. And so reading has been completely transformative for me. It has helped me solve problems. Whenever I get into a tight situation, whenever I'm unsure of what to do, what decision to make, there's always a book that I can read. There's always an audio that I can listen to. There's always a show like this, Virtual School Assembly, that I can follow and listen to. And that has always been my go-to: reading, listening, learning. And so I want to share with you today some things that I've learned on my journey. And by the way, I have 3 daughters, one who's 22, she's in UC Irvine. She's going to be going to law school. She informed me of that a week ago. I have another daughter who is 19. She's in UC Santa Cruz. She's going to be going to medical school. and I have a 14-year-old. And sadly, they lost their dad in 2015. And so I've been raising them all by myself since 2015. And so the things that I'm going to be sharing with you today are things that I've experienced. I'm going to be speaking to you from my heart. This is not theory. This is me talking to you as a mom who has raised children, who understands the challenges that it takes raising children like yourself in this era, and supporting you in a way that will make a tremendous difference for your life. And I want to start by sharing with you today what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you today about the 5 keys to finding your voice in a sea of opinions. And you would agree with me that we live in a world where there's just too much information. There's just too much going on. And as much as you want to be a learner and a good student and use this information to make a difference for yourself, it can be confusing sometimes. You may be confused about what direction to go because you're hearing so many voices. But I want to share with you 5 ways that you can truly sieve out what's important and apply that to your life, and also how to really truly focus on yourself so that you can make a difference for yourself and for your family. So here are the 5 keys. The first key to finding your voice in a sea of opinions is to trust your talent, is to trust yourself, is to believe in yourself. And we've heard this said a lot, and it may appear cliche, but it's not cliche. You truly have to silence the voices around you and think about your own talents, your own gifts, the things that you're good at. Do not undermine anything that you're good at. Sometimes we look down on the things that we're good at. Do not undermine anything. If you're good at something, give yourself a pat on the back and say, yes, I'm awesome because I know how to do that. You know, I don't know your family story, the environment in which you live, but there are so many children who live in families where they're never told that they're good enough. They're never told that they're amazing. They're never told that they're wonderful. So they've never heard that. So where are they going to know how good they truly are? You have to tell yourself that. If your family has never told you, if your family has put you down, you have to tell yourself that you're good. How are you good? Because you were born, because you're alive, because you're walking. So there's something that you're good at. You just have to think about what it is. So trust your talent. Trust your talent. Even if you make mistakes, even if you falter, even if you fail, it's not because you're not talented. It's only because you haven't learned how to do something. You haven't learned the skill. So the talent is there, the ability is there. It's just you have to learn how to do it in a way that will transform you. So trust your talent. Number 2 is to think big. The reason why I mention this is because I was privileged to visit with a friend of mine's little niece. And I sat down and spoke to her about her life and what she wanted to do. Very brilliant girl, very intelligent, very smart. I was so impressed by the level of her conversation. And when I started to discuss with her about her future and what she wanted to do, she said, all I want to do is finish high school and get an apartment and stay with my friend and help raise my friend's daughter. And I saw so much more in her than that. And I started to encourage her, why don't you think bigger? There's so much more you could do. You could grow in your career. You could make a huge difference for other kids who are struggling. You could make a huge difference for other animals that are not being taken care of. You could make a huge difference for our environment. There's so much more you could do. And so I encourage you to think big, to think bigger, and think about the influence and the difference that you could make when you trust your talent, when you use your talent and you develop your talent and you raise the level of your game. think about the difference that you could make for those who are less fortunate. Think about the difference that you could make for those children who are in the hospital. Think about the difference that you could make for animals that have been abandoned. So think about the difference that you could make for young children who are in Africa and don't have parents, for moms who have to travel several miles with children on their backs because they don't have a car, but they have to walk. Think about the difference you could make for those people using your talents. And that's why you think big. You don't necessarily think big for yourself because you want to make a whole lot of money and live a luxurious lifestyle, which is great. You've earned it, you deserved it. But think about how you could use your life to make a difference for those who are less fortunate. And so, fortunately, let me get to point number 3. Point number 3 is to recognize your opportunities, to recognize that there are resources available. And it's not a gimmick that you live in the greatest country in the world. You do. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. That's a privilege. That is awesome. And I'm telling you that coming from a very poor country, a very poor continent, that you are truly blessed to live in these United States of America. There are so many opportunities that are available. There are so many resources. And I want to share this story. It sounds petty, but it made a huge difference for me. In the last years, I've been using an accountant to file my taxes, a CPA. So every year I gather my receipts and I mail them to him. Well, this year I tried to contact him and he never called me back. He never returned my call. I kept checking and trying to figure out where is this guy, and I don't want to try to get someone else to start all over. I need someone who's familiar with my work. And he's not available. And tax deadline is July 15th. And I thought, oh my, what am I going to do? So I thought, Nicoline, why don't you try to file your taxes online? Why don't you just use TurboTax or one of these other software? People are doing it. You could try it. So I pull up TurboTax. I registered for it. Never done anything like that in my whole life. It took me about 3 weeks to detailedly enter every single information that I had to put in there. And I finally completed putting in the information last night. But I got stuck. I got stuck somewhere where I couldn't move forward. And on TurboTax, there's always help available on the screen. So you can click there and get an account and come online live and tell you what you're missing. And so I got a nice gentleman. His name was David. He came on, he helped me. And it took us about 30 minutes to an hour, and he helped me finish off the parts that I was struggling, and we completed the whole tax return and submitted it. Why am I sharing this story? TurboTax to you as an American doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything to you. But when I sat there after being frustrated and filed my own taxes and submitted my returns from my computer, I was blown away. I was like, wow, so this is possible. So what I told myself was, so the resources, that resource, TurboTax, is available. It is available, right? So then if I don't make it, if I struggle in life, it's not because the resources are not there. It's not because the opportunities are not there. It's because I haven't applied myself. I haven't trusted my talent. Sorry, I'm kind of shedding tears because this is emotional, that there's so many opportunities that are available and resources that are available. All we need to do is apply ourselves and take advantage of the resources and opportunities that are available to change our lives. So now I've learned how to file taxes because I took advantage of it. And if I hadn't done that, I would just be depending on other people. I would not grow. I have grown. When you take advantage of the resources, you grow. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of the resources that are available around you. There are so many of them online. There's just so much going on that you can take advantage of. If you're not sure what to do, speak to a mentor. Talk to your parents about connecting you to a mentor. Get in touch with your school to find out if there are alumni that you can pair with who can advise you on the next step. So make sure that you apply yourself. Number 4 is to stay focused. To stay focused. And you're staying focused for yourself. You're doing this for yourself so that you can develop yourself. Staying focused means not buying into the shiny object syndrome. If you're in high school and you have to go to college, stay focused in college. Why are you going to college? What is your goal? What is your goal in completing high school? What is your goal in completing college? Stay focused on that goal. And when my children were growing up, I told them, of course, there are children who like to take a year off to think about their lives. There are some who want to take some time off just to travel and just take breaks. Those things are okay. But let those things not be because you're pursuing some shiny object, something that is faster and easier. There's no faster and easier way. There's just, you have to get the work done. So I want to encourage you to stay focused. If you're going to college, start your college you get to college at 18. You get to college at 18, right? You complete your college in 4 years. Stay focused in college. Stay focused in college. Complete it in 4 years, so you'll be at 22. If you decide to do a master's degree, that's great. You'll be at 24. If you decide to do a PhD, that's great. You'll be at 29 and you're done. If you want to go to medical school, you complete your college at 22, and then you do maybe 6 more years of medical school, depending on the area of specialty. 6 more years, you're at 28 and you're done. And you can start to live your life. But so many of my age mates, people that I know, they go to school and they see a shiny object and they pursue it, and that's not it, and they come right back. And then they go here and see a shiny object, they want to do this, but that's not it, and they come right back. And at 40, 50, 60, they're still in college trying to figure it out and raising children. Of course, it has worked for some people really well, but you're young, you're able to make those choices. And so talk to a mentor who's able to help you do that, figure it out. And number 5 is to do the work. To stay organized, get a planner, put down your to-do list, and try as much as possible to avoid distractions. Of course, we live in a world of social media where it's fun to watch other people. It's fun to see what people are doing. That's a good thing. That's the beauty of our world, is to just be in this kind of social space. But make sure that whatever you do adds value to your life, and you can always create time for yourself to do the things that are important to you and to your family. And remember, you're not doing this for your parents, you're not doing this for your siblings, you're not doing this for anyone, you're doing this for you. School is your gift to yourself. And I want you to remember that put yourself first. And so I am truly, that's, excited that you're able to listen this far, if you're listening, and if you've listened. And I thank you for that. And now I'm going to take some questions.
Well, Nicoline, thank you so much for your message. I love this idea of dreaming big. And as I look at your story, coming from your humble beginnings in Africa, I'm a little curious about what your dreams were as a young girl, because I'm guessing your life hasn't gone the way you expected it to. What were some of the things when you were growing up that you thought, one day I want to have this, or one day I want to do that? What were some of your ambitions when you were really young?
You know what's funny? I never dream like that, because there's nothing to dream about in the environment that I grew up in. You don't see those things that are worthy of dreaming about. So I just kept being disciplined. I just kept doing the best for myself, and taking my schoolwork seriously, knowing that one day my schoolwork is going to get me somewhere. Mm-hmm. Just that determination and belief that what I'm doing will get me somewhere. But I really didn't dream. Right. But now that I'm here and see the opportunities, I am, of course, dreaming big.
Right. Well, and so on the flip side of that, one of the things that strikes me as you talk is you have this glow about you. Your eyes light up, and I can tell that you love life, that you really make the most of your life. Now that you've fulfilled a lot of the dreams that you've had and accomplished great things, you're raising three wonderful daughters. What are the things that bring you the most happiness at this point in your life?
That's a great question. One of the things that brings me great happiness is truly serving, truly serving. There was a point when I was really wanting to, you know, be very aggressive with business and, do amazing things and be hungry like that. But I lost that when I lost my husband. When I lost my husband, you know, I came face to face with the reality of what's truly important in life. And what's truly important in life is making sure that we care for our loved ones, to make sure that we're present for our loved ones, but also develop a work ethic, also having a good work ethic where you are not wasting your time, you're using your time wisely, just like what you're doing, Chris. That's just amazing.
Hmm.
Using my time in that way, and detaching from the results. So I tell my daughters too, I say, of course, life is short, quote unquote, but you have to give your best. You have to have a good work ethic. You have to be good. And so a nice balance is what's key in life, balancing family, balancing work, and also making sure that you're healthy on the journey.
Hmm. Now, one of the things that I know about you is you spend a lot of time now in travel and in helping other people see the world and experience that. When I was a small child, I grew up with the idea that other people traveled and saw the world, but my family, we didn't do that. We just stayed in our little area. What was it for you that made you want to see the world for yourself, but now you're helping other people do that? How did that come about?
Yes, because I turned 50 years old in 2018. And when I turned 50, I looked at my life and I thought, I have to get away. I have to travel and see the world. It's not enough just to go to work and come home and just be in your environment. You have to go out into the world and see what other people are doing, how other people live, see other cultures. And traveling matures you in a way that really is transforming for you, even though you're in contact with other people, but it's very healing for the traveler. That's why you see a lot of people now getting out into the world, interacting with other cultures, other people, and just growing in themselves by doing that.
Yeah, that's really great.
Mhm.
Now, part of your story that I think is amazing is that you give this recommendation, but you've also done it in your own life where you talk about working hard and the value of reading. As a young girl, that was an important part of your story, that you read a lot of books and that helped position you to be someone that could come over to Canada to get your education and to open up opportunities. There are so many students out there that say, I don't like to read. I don't enjoy reading. What would be your advice to those kids who say, I don't like to read?
I think they think that their reading is probably something they're not passionate about. But if a kid loves a, a certain kind of video game and
Right.
they enjoy it, and you were to give them a book on that video game, I bet you they would love to read it.
I bet you're
So
right.
maybe a lot of the subjects that are being taught are not interesting for students, but also reading doesn't may not necessarily address your unique passion, but it helps you grow. It helps your mind grow. It helps you become a better reader. It helps you become an analytical thinker. And that helps you in the things that you want to do. So try as much as possible to develop a passion for reading, even if it's boring. Read it because it helps you in other ways in your own personal life.
Yeah, that's really great. Now, as you've talked about these different things, I've thought about the climate we find ourselves in right now, and not just in the United States, but throughout the world, where we're experiencing this pandemic, but we're also experiencing a lot of social and political strife with Black Lives Matter. and other issues of equality that have come up. Now, I found in my own experience, one way to understand other cultures is to travel, as you've suggested, to read books, as you've suggested, and to pursue passions like watch videos on YouTube or understand cultures through movies and media. If you could give advice to kids out there about how they can experience the world, how they can see other cultures, what do you think are the best things that they can or should be doing right now?
Yes, by the way, let me get back to what you just said. And watching videos is a great alternative to reading as well. It helps with analytical thinking. The ways that children can engage now with traveling, maybe, they're still young and they can't travel by themselves under 18, but they can watch online. There's a lot of virtual traveling happening, even on YouTube, National Geographic, NASA. There's a lot of virtual things happening. I think it's jetsetter.com. They have virtual live travel videos. So they have, for example, a video of gorillas in Tanzania happening right now on their website. So just Google virtual travel and you'll see a lot of live videos that are actually happening all over the world. And when you turn 18, give yourself a treat and get out there. There are a lot of people who are traveling. Traveling is an $8 trillion industry. $8 trillion. Wow. So a lot of people are traveling and it's truly good for our world. And fortunately, the travel suppliers like cruise ships and so on, they're doing all they can to make sure that our waters are clean, our air is clean. And so the standards are really, really high now to make sure that the environment is taken care of while we're enjoying getting away.
Yeah. Well, Nicoline, I really appreciate you coming on the show today, sharing these great tips on how students can find their voice in this crazy world that we're in. I think there is a lot of value here. If kids want to learn more about you or connect with you on social media or anything like that, is there a best place to find you online?
Yes, I am in Instagram, although I haven't learned how to use it as well as you kids. I hope one of you can teach me how to use it. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn where I met Chris. And so see how we're connecting. And I'm also on Twitter. And I have a website, NicolineAmbe.com. NicolineAmbe.com. Right. And if you have any questions, I do have some students. When I was the parent empowerment speaker, I gave talks like this, and I have students who are still calling me for mentorship. And I had a young man who's going to medical school, and he called me. He wants to write a book with his little brother. And so he wanted to get my opinion on how to start writing the book and how to publish the book, how to promote it. So if you need mentorship, you need someone to talk to, and you have some ideas you want to brainstorm, I will definitely help you in brainstorming your ideas and give you some direction. So please feel free to reach out to me. And my cell phone number is 310-293-3355. And you can call me anytime.
Wow. Well, that's so generous of you to put that out there. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing this part of your story with us.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.